Hello and welcome to this next little chat on lead, convert and retain. I'm Guy Griffiths and I'll introduce the other two guys first, but yeah, Guy Griffiths from GG Fit. I'm the third part, retain. In the middle of your screen, if you're watching it this as we're recording it, is Keith Small from Your Success. He's the convert or the sales guy, and then John Preston on the end there, or the other end, baseline marketing, the lead guru. And I'm hoping you've probably seen one or two of these little episodes we've done before. We get together quite a lot and just chew the fat and talk about how we work together, and we don't just retain members, but the whole process of generating health club or gym leads that then need converting, that they need retaining. If you have a joined up approach, you'll have a much more successful club. And we know that because we've worked together at lots of very successful clubs. We're talking about these ideas, and we clip these up and put these out there to hopefully help the industry to collaborate a bit more and get more educated. And we're talking about doing an event, more of a bespoke event with questions from you. We've had a couple of questions last time. We were chatting about where to start if we were working with a new club or if we took over a club. We've chatted about referrals, we've chatted about GLP-1s, we've chatted about all sorts of stuff. But Keith, I'm going to throw to you and I'll shut up for a minute, but tell us a bit about our kind of thoughts around putting on a live event for people who want to watch.
It was a lovely kind of conversation. We were starting on the basis of what should we talk about today? And there's always plenty of topics that we're throwing around. And we got into the conversation about, right, we want to do an online event. We want to invite people along so we can do more and bring everything together. And when we were talking about the dates and the conversations, it just struck me, and I know I shared it with you both, which was, well, we know John is phenomenal at bringing in leads for people to convert into membership, which hides over to me, which I love creating an experience and processes and steps for team members to follow to make that joining experience fun, even a pleasure, so people can really kind of feel comfortable with joining. And then we all know how amazing you are, Guy, in terms of putting steps and journeys in place to help people stay longer, retain their members, and also make sure that those important touchpoints conversations are happening so that you can look after your customers and see them refer and continue to come. And when we were talking about what we want to talk about, the bit that struck me is we kind of know, or we do know what we want to deliver to everybody. And we'll go through that in a little while. But the thing that always strikes me is with the information that's provided, how do then people take it and use it? How do they track the results? And how do they then kind of measure that success and think about what they're going to do next? Because I know that's always a wonderful thing in terms of, I love delivering it. And I always love to hear, right, what's changed, what's improved, what you're going to do next. And I know that if I go in and deliver a course or training or even do some one-to-one work, I'm really going to look at interactions, processes, conversations, how you listen to customers so that you make it as easy and as pleasurable for them to take the next step and go ahead and join your club. And it all links beautifully with the wonderful work John does to send these inquiries in. But I want to make sure that face-to-face part, that human connection is where people feel welcome and they want to join. So I know I can deliver that, and I know that's going to lift in the conversions. It's going to make a big difference in terms of what people see. But it's then how that information is then taken on board, used, tracked, measured. And I always add some support to that. But it's just great to hear how people who have been listening have been thinking, right, I implemented that and here's what I found out. And that for me was kind of like the basis for today. What we're doing versus how people are using it and measuring it and what they want to hear. What else do they want, to be able to implement and do? And that's kind of what I was thinking. I think, John, did you have a similar feeling about this? Are you curious as to how people use the information we share and what results they see?
Yeah, definitely. And as I think I was saying before, back from my PT days, it was you can put all the information out that you like, but how many people are actually taking action on it? So I'd be definitely interested to hear what points have really stood out for people and what have they taken action on, because what we always find with our discussions is everything is linked. And if I'm looking at a funnel, for example, a sales funnel, it's not just a sales funnel isn't just getting leads in. It's for me, to action stages right the way through this funnel, which is not actually a funnel, it's more of a circle because leads are feeding back in from referrals and all over the place. You need to take action on every single part, and they're not actually difficult actions to take. And actually, when you step back and look at it, they're quite obvious ones. So, for example, in the event that we're going to do, I very much want, something that we can easily do in a short section is let's build a persona, and that persona being that's just our Bible. That's like our brand kit for our members. So to be able to do that with a segment and then rinse and repeat that in your own time, I think would be really valuable. But that sort of thing feeds directly into helping Keith convert, and Keith being able to convert quality members in the right way then helps guide with the retention, and the retention strategies then feed back into generating leads. So
yeah, absolutely. And I think the example you used a little while ago was, we'll get a lead in and it will cost, say £500 or £100, let's say, just for the sake of easy maths for the lead. And that's, but a month's membership's £30. But what you want to know is the lifetime value is 10 months, so £300. So actually it is worth spending £100 getting that lead for that one member, even though they're only paying £30 in their first month. So linking those numbers up is, and again, that's what we do. That's absolutely critical. But having the feedback and the comments we've had on these videos, whether it's on LinkedIn or YouTube already, is great. And seeing people interact with us on these is really good. That's why we did that last session. We don't want to take over your gym. And that was the question.
Okay.
If you took over our gym, what would you do? Which is a great question. So we want to get some more of those. Comment below. But we also want to have a bit more interaction. I mean, the three of us, we talk a lot, and as you can tell, can talk forever. But to get some interaction, either live on a call for an hour or so, or to just get more comments and bring more people into the LinkedIn Lead, Convert, Retain group is kind of the idea, right?
Yeah.
So, Jen, I'll cut across you. And what kind of things, or one of the best comments you're getting, or if no one came up with anything, what would you be talking about? Would it be personas?
Yeah, I think that would be an obvious one. If we're going to do a short session that somebody's going to be able to walk away with something, some value that they can implement, and it will go and make a difference immediately, it would be how to find the personas. And there's a specific way of doing it. And I've done it with a lot of PTs who find it really valuable because they're trying to sell the services to everybody when actually that doesn't resonate with anyone. So understanding who you want to work with and what problems you're solving is really the key to all marketing and all sales.
And I think the big thing that I get...
Good. Lovely pass to Keith then.
I thought that was very well done there. So now I've got to think now. But the bit that I get feedback on, and the questions I get asked about that people want to improve, is this confidence and belief. And I think when people hear the word sales or sale, there's an impression there that it's going to be pushy, it's going to be hardcore. And for me, this whole thing is about conversation. And I use this sometimes in my sessions. People have already heard this before, but it's the whole having a doctor mentality when you talk to someone. I'm trying to understand what pain you're coming in with so I can diagnose and prescribe you a fix, a solution. And that for me isn't selling, that's delivering great service. And the sales and service always tie in. Service has to be provided before you make a sale. And it's just enabling people to think like that I'm not forcing someone to do this. I'm helping them make a change. I'm helping them get better. I'm helping them change their life. But I need to understand what they want rather than just trying to sell a price, sell a product. What is it they need and what's the solution I can provide? And that for me is the key thing I really enjoy delivering in my training and in my sessions. But also it's the nice feedback I hear from people saying, I didn't used to enjoy it. I didn't feel confident, but now I understand. It's just really me being helpful, giving good service and showing them all the wonderful things that we do.
And really
needs to keep it in the training. So
yeah. And I think as well, we're saying we think this is where the most value is. But again, actually, when it comes down to the sales, it's understanding what the problems are. So it's to take our own advice. We do really need to hear from the people watching this as to what help they need. But then saying that, Guy, what do you perceive people need?
Yeah, good question. And I'll lead on from Keith and prove that I was actively listening, because it's about that, but it's also about knowing the value. So yes, you were talking about the confidence to interact, or the confidence to sell.
Yeah.
But even once the membership's been sold, things still need selling, not financially, but any kind of interaction has a value to it. The easy one, and the one that I do talk about a lot, is the induction, activation, whatever it is. But looking at the data and the stats for your site, and knowing that at your site, people stay, let's say, 3 months longer, and the membership fee is £30, £33, let's say, for the sake of easy maths. We know that people who have that first appointment are worth £100 more. Or flipping it on its head, if you don't have that conversation with them about the fact that they're going to get results and stay longer and just be healthier and fitter if they have an induction, you've possibly lost the business £100. And another spin on that, we were chatting about, obviously it's 2026, so we've got to talk about Padel as well, but understanding the conversation in a Padel club of, do you want a coffee, or that's the 4th time you've rented a racket. There's always an upsell. There's always so to convince people and give them the confidence to interact and to have conversations, because most businesses we work with are people businesses. I have worked with some budget chains. It's fine. You learn some retention lessons. There's lots of digital touch points. It's okay. But generally, the fitness industry is a people industry. Interactions make the world go round. They make your day go quicker and better. In the bottom line, they also make more money, which means you have more job satisfaction, but you also have more job opportunities and prospects, and you have a job. So finding people's why, building that in from a leadership point of view, along with building confidence, it is what I would talk about from a retention point of view. And I would certainly do a short bit on that if that's interesting to people. But as John says, we want to know what is interesting.
What do you need? Yeah, absolutely.
Now, without us digressing too far into the world of Padel, which me and you, Guy, are rather obsessive about. We started talking about it before, and Keith brought up pickleball, so I'm not sure we'll see Keith on the next episode.
No.
But
You go on.
with Padel clubs, a lot of clubs I'm seeing now kind of trying to move more towards the membership model and looking at retention and looking at the stats as to what player behavior is and how are we keeping people in our club as opposed to going to other clubs, especially if they're on kind of marketplace booking systems like Playtomic. It's more and more important. And I had the discussion with a club yesterday about taking exactly this model. So whilst we're sort of primarily talking to leisure clubs, it's not specific to leisure clubs, because we're in discussions with Padel clubs about how do we teach the staff to be able to sell a membership in the style of a tour, and how do we get them to sell a racket and have the conversation about selling a racket, or upselling another coffee, or just adding these things on and talking to people and keeping them in club for longer, retaining them for longer, because it's exactly the same thing. So if you're involved, a lot of my people on LinkedIn are in the Padel community as well, as they are with yourself, Guy. If you're looking at this and thinking it's not relevant to you, it really is relevant to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a really good little riff. And I think, Keith can go and do a pickleball episode on his own, and we'll do a Padel episode. I like pickleball as well. I do play.
We'll try and get Keith into one of the clubs to do some sales training. I'm just going to have to tell him which end of the racket to hold first.
That's it. And make sure that I don't call it a bat, please, John, because I don't want to offend anybody when I come in. Thank you.
Bat's fine. It can be a bat.
Can it?
It's equally a bat as it is a racket.
Oh.
It's how you spell racket.
Controversial. I can see John kind of pulling a face there, but okay, yeah, I'd love that. So
what we need is to get Keith playing Padel, John.
Right, that's our goal. That's our goal.
Here we go. Video
rather than paddling out to sea on his surfboard, which is equally as cool.
Yeah.
It is.
Thanks.
So, what else? Any little wrap ups from either of you before we?
I think the big thing from me, and I know I'm jumping in here, is that I said we are genuinely excited about being able to put on a session on the 25th of June. There is so many things that I know all three of us want to contribute towards that session in terms of what we can bring, how we can support, and the change we can help you deliver. But equally love to know what else is it you need? What else is something that you feel is missing? And if you're going to get that information, how are you going to use it? So you've got to focus on what you want to get from our time together. That for me is a big bit.
I would say, following on from what Keith said, it really is about having the conversation with you telling us what you want. We're going to be having those conversations in the Lead, Convert, Retain group, which we will all be putting links to around our various socials. So come and join us in there, ask us the questions in there, join in the sort of debate on there, and then we can deliver something amazing and really actionable for you.
Yeah. I mean, echoing those two, but adding in, and I don't necessarily use the community word, but I think, and I know from running workshops that half of the stuff that people learn on a workshop that I deliver, it does not come from me. And that's not because Keith might be there as well. It's because you're learning from each other. And I think if we get a good cohort of clubs asking questions, and listen, we'll be there to support, facilitate, and advise. But I think people will learn from each other just as much. So by asking questions, you will be helping other clubs. Hopefully not the club around the corner who's competing with you. But I mean, listen, it's a big enough world to share this information. Ultimately, we all want to help people get fitter and healthier, right?
Absolutely.
So let's do that together. Cool, guys. It's always a pleasure to catch up. Always nice to record a little bit and put it out there. Keith mentioned the date, 25th of June. So we'll have a live on that day, almost certainly around lunchtime. So you can, it's not like super busy in clubs. It's kind of mid shift. You can get if you're on a morning shift, you can catch before you go. Or if you're in an afternoon shift, you might come in a bit earlier and catch us. But in the meantime, ask us some questions, drop some comments below, wherever you're watching this, probably YouTube or LinkedIn, and we'll see you there and look forward to getting some good questions and interactions. Yeah. Keith, John, cheers for joining me.
Cheers, guys. Cheers, John. See you again.